Our NBA Draft Scouting Report series rolls on here in the Series Media YouTube channel. That is Riley Davis. I am Brian Ralph. Today we are talking about Jonathan Mogbo, the San Francisco product. Projected to be a second round pick, was one of the breakout players in the country this season. You may not have heard much about him during the college basketball season because he played for San Francisco, played in the WCC, didn't have a real breakout performance on a national stage, but a very, very good player. And NBA scouts noticed. He went from pretty much off the board to now it's going to be a shock if he's not drafted. Pretty likely second round. Some potential. He slips in the late first round. Riley, give us a general overview of Mobo's game.
I love Mobo. He is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. I know this past weekend on Twitter there was a "Who is your guy in this draft?" that post going around. He is 100% my guy. He is a 6'9" center, but has a 7'2" wingspan, really big shoulders, good frame, should be able to hold up guarding fives in the NBA. Unique in his skill set because he initiated a ton of offense for San Francisco. They would use him as a pick and roll ball handler. They would use him to sort of get into the lane off of dribble drives and kick out. But he's also extremely explosive. He was third in the country with 86 dunks that trailed two players. Sorry, I guess I just said he's third in the country. That trailed just Zach Edey and William Kyle, who played at South Dakota State, a Summit League team. I'm pretty sure it's South Dakota
Yeah.
State. Anyway, in my mind is like, oh, disregard the Summit League stats anyway because no one plays
Yeah.
defense in that
It's
league.
just
So
Zach Edey.
he might as well have just trailed Zach Edey in dunks, but does everything, blocks shots, gets steals. I mean, he's an absolute beast on the glass. I like there are very few things not to like about his game. I guess he doesn't shoot threes. He's 0 for 2 from three this year, 0 for 2 for his career. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm enamored with his game.
Not a perimeter player by any stretch.
Okay,
Uh,
he's a perimeter player though, and that he can
from
handle.
from
He
a
can
shooting
create.
standpoint, a
He just
perimeter
can't
shooting
shoot.
threat, I should say, because he can put the ball on the deck. He can he can do the driving from the perimeter, but he is not going to be stretching any defenses. Let's put it
Right.
that way, at least with his current skill set. So if you had one word to describe him, what is that word?
I cheated and I'm using a hyphenated word and it's first rounder because I think I think he is a pro. I think he should go late first round. Yeah, he's high ceiling. Just draft this dude.
I put exciting, and I just was deciding between exciting and tantalizing because I think there's a lot there to love. The shooting obviously is the one thing that isn't there. But you look at a 6'9" big who rebounds at an incredibly high rate, can put the ball on the floor, attack the rim, have a good face up game like that. Other than the shooting, that is built for the modern NBA, right? And those guys
Mm-hmm.
don't come around that often. He is almost 23. Like that's going to be part of this. The fact that he doesn't necessarily have a huge runway to reach his potential, but I think his potential is extremely exciting. We're going to record a separate draft comp video as we do for all the top 25 prospects we're doing here on the Supers Media YouTube channel. I think his best case comp for me is like all-star caliber, all NBA caliber. Like I think that's his ceiling. We'll see if he gets there. Do you think he's more likely to hit his floor or his ceiling? I think his ceiling is pretty high. His floor that was rebounding might be pretty solid. So do you think he's more likely to hit his floor or his ceiling in the NBA?
Yeah, I think it's his ceiling. I'm not ready to say he has all star potential, despite like I just raved about him for a couple minutes. But I think I will be 0% surprised if he is a starter for a playoff team in the next 5 years.
I'm with you. I put he's more likely to hit his floor than hit his ceiling for two reasons. Number one, I think his ceiling is really damn high. So, like, him reaching his ceiling means to me being like an all star, all NBA, like third team kind of guy occasionally. Um, and that's rare, particularly when you have to develop some parts of your game to get there, right? Like that history has told us more often than not, you are closer to your floor, wherever that falls, than reaching that max potential. I think the opportunity is there, but if we're, simming his career 100 times in 2K, I'm going more floor than ceiling there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's going to have to do with fit, though. Obviously, he's got to land in a good situation, a place that can develop him and give him some opportunities. Projected to be a second round pick. I think we had him 42nd on our big board. If I'm remembering that correctly, I should probably double check here before I go with that. Yeah, 42nd photographic memory. So in that range, early mid second round, who is a team drafting that you think he'd be the best fit for?
I would love to see him on the Orlando Magic. They pick at number 47 if he falls that far. Maybe he climbs higher. Again, if it's up to me, I'd take him in the first round. But I would love to see him on a team where you have Paulo, another big who can handle, where you have
Yep.
Franz, who's what, 6'8", 6'9", who can handle. You got Anthony Black still there, another six
Yeah.
seven ball handler. Like, just go all in on these dudes with who have long wingspans, who give you a lot of size on your team, who are multifaceted. And you could play him at the 5 with Paulo at the 4, and that would be exceptionally exciting with the athleticism, and the both dudes have so much athleticism and so much skill.
Yeah. I went with the Miami Heat. We know how good the Heat are at developing players,
Mm-hmm.
at finding guys like him who come from non-power backgrounds and turning them into, at the very least, high quality role players. Right? There are a number of guys you can go down the list from the last 5 years, last 10 years, 15, 20, like however long. Miami is a place for those guys. I think there is a world where Mobo is like a Bam Adebayo backup and can do similar things, just obviously not as
Mm-hmm.
well, but can do similar things. Um, the Heat are drafting in the second round at 43. So right around the spot that we have him slated at 42. If he's available there, I mean, it might be nice if my Hornets took him a pick before that, but if he's still available there, I think landing in Miami would be excellent for his career.
He's gonna be like Kai Jones if he goes to the Hornets. Don't wish that on him. That's where good players go to die.
There are no
Let him get into a good organization, or one that's on the come up, like the Magic.
since the Bobcats rebirth, there has been zero success stories to come out of the city of Charlotte. It's terrible, absolutely
Especially in the
terrible.
second round.
Especially,
Really,
especially in the second round. His peak year in the NBA. What does that look like from a stats perspective? What does the stat line look like?
I'm gonna say he averages 12, 8, and 3, and
Okay,
then
well,
gives you like 2 stocks a game.
yeah, so similar wavelength. I said 10 and 9. Throw 2 or 3 assists, 2 or 3 stocks in there as well. I think he's somebody who's going to, at his peak, be like a double threat every night with his scoring and rebounding. I don't think he's going to
Mm-hmm.
become a top end scorer, but I think he's somebody who's going to be very productive, more than likely on a bench role. Now, in 5 years, people are out of the rookie contract, so this is generally a good sense of where they're at for their NBA careers. In 5 years, I'll give you some options. See an All NBA player, an All Star player, a starter, bench guy, is playing in the G League overseas, or is he a podcaster? Which designation would you assign Jonathan Mogbo in 5 years?
Called my shot, and I'm sticking with it. He's a starter.
Okay, I put bench, but like a sixth or seventh man. I think I like what he can be. It would not shock me if he's a starter, but I think he's got to land in the right place because, unfortunately, the copycat nature of the NBA has it to where some teams will just be like, if you can't shoot threes, we're not playing you, right? And that's, I think, a concern is a team drafts him hoping they develop just that portion of his game and becomes all about that portion of his game. I think he's got to land somewhere good. I think he will, especially second round. I think some team will take a flyer on him. Um, but I think he'll more than likely be like a quality bench guy on a maybe not a championship contender, but a playoff team. I think that's his likely outcome. Speaking of likely, let's get to his superlative. We're doing yearbook style superlatives for all of the top 75 NBA prospects. We're going over here on the Sabres Media YouTube channel. So, Jonathan Mogbo is the most likely to what in this NBA draft class?
Most likely to compete in a dunk contest wearing a throwback version of his team's jersey.
I love it. It's so specific. I love that.
Imagine him in like the black and gray pinstripe Magic jersey, 32, Shaquille O'Neal
Oh
on the
yeah.
back.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he puts on a Superman. No, I guess I know Shaq called himself Superman, but Dwight put on the Superman cape. Something like
Yeah.
that. A little
White called
homage
himself
to,
Superman too.
yeah, right. They but a little homage to dunkers of the
Yeah.
past.
I could very much see that. I could very much see that. I cheated a bit with this one because he is already this to a certain extent, and I think he's going to stay this way throughout his career. I think he's going to be like one of the biggest NBA Twitter darlings.
He's a Twitter. He's already a Twitter dog.
A draft Twitter darling? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I
Or
thought you were
like or
saying
like
that like he's
no, we're not
chirping
not
on
like not his
X.
own Twitter account, but like he does stuff and NBA Twitter is just like
Yeah,
salivating over. Did you see this move that
yeah,
he did?
yeah. I could see that
Yeah.
League Pass All Star type that all the hardcore NBA
You
fans.
just you get the 30-second clip on social media the next morning, and it's like, look at this stuff he pulled off. It's fantastic. I think that's very much in the cards for him, and partially because it kind of already is with draft Twitter. I think that's just going to carry over. But Jonathan Mogbo, I think we're both high on him. Excited to see where he ends up on draft night. Make sure you check out his best case, worst case player comp video because there's going to be some good names in there. Make sure you check that out. Like and subscribe.
The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.